Hello, welcome back to the We Are City channel. Today, guys, we're talking more transfer news. You guys said you enjoyed the video yesterday where we spoke about João Cancelo heading to Bayern Munich. That has now been confirmed on loan for an option to sign him for 70 million euros. And there's been some really interesting quotes come out from João Cancelo. Things such as, you know, he thinks that his chapter at Manchester City isn't over and he could come back to City because it's only a loan, which to me seems pretty deluded from João Cancelo, considering the news coming out today about what has been going on with João Cancelo, who has been causing big problems in the changing room, has been causing problems in the dressing room completely, and by the sounds of it, rumours, now these aren't confirmed rumours, João Cancelo threw a ball at Pep Guardiola where Ruben Dias and Phil Foden had to intercept, so lots happening there, and Cancelo now is confirmed to leave the club. City will not be making any signs of deadline day. It's going to be a very quiet deadline day for City. We spoke about perhaps City bringing a left back, maybe Rafael Guerreiro or Alejandro Grimaldo were the options because they're out of contract at the end of the season. City could get a short-term deal. I don't know why City don't ever go into the loan market. I think all these big teams now what they're doing is they're getting players on loan and then saying we'll pay a fee perhaps at the end of that. For whatever reason, that is not coming up for Manchester City. We're not even considering that option ever. I don't know why that is the case. So City aren't doing that. City were linked a little bit last night with Anthony Robinson, the American fullback at Fulham, which I thought maybe might be something in that, but that seemed to say, no, City in the morning confirmed that is not something they're going to be doing. I think some of you guys might be in the live chat, but for whatever reason on YouTube, the live chat isn't working at the moment for me, so I can't see what you guys are typing in, but I'll have a look at my phone and see if I can pick up the live chat instead. So I wanted to do a video like we did yesterday because you guys said you wanted to see a video like yesterday and more videos like this. And today, the big news coming out about Manchester City is James Maddison. James Maddison to Manchester City. Jeff says we need a left back. Here we are. I've got your comments on here. Let's see if I can get them on my screen so I don't have to keep looking down. For whatever reason, it does it that way. So let's just get this up. There, I should be able to see your comments now coming up. So, a few people commenting on different things. Live chat message here. Maddison injury history. Yeah, we'll go into that. So, City want James Maddison. That is what has come out today. Manchester City want James Maddison. So, City have sort of gone quiet on signings. And then this big news came out today of the signings Manchester City want. And we'll go into them. We'll start with James Maddison. So, the first one is City are highly interested, very interested in James Maddison for next season. Now, James Maddison, we'll talk a bit about him, but James Maddison out of contract in 2024. So you're talking about a player that would be very cheap. We're talking maybe 35 to 40 million. I think Leicester City probably value him at 60 million. And maybe if you went for him last summer, it'd be 60 million. Next summer, I'm thinking 35 to 40 million. City are looking for a cut price deal for a 26-year-old. Now, he has scored 7 goals in 14 Premier League games and got 4 assists. Now, if you ask me, that's a really good record. But one thing people are mentioning right now, Elmo's mentioned it and Adjin's mentioned it as well, is the injury record that James Maddison has. Now, he's had a reoccurring hip injury for years upon years, and he's currently missed, I wrote on here, 47 days with a knee injury. That is about 4 or 5 games he's missed now through injury with a knee injury. And he was injured when he went to the World Cup, wasn't he, with England? So that is an issue with James Maddison. But City are looking to replace 2 players in their squad, and James Maddison looks to be the top pick that they have identified. The first one is Bernardo Silva. Now, there was rumours that Bernardo Silva could leave Manchester City in this January transfer window over the next few days. That is not going to happen. Bernardo will stick around to at least the summer, where we might see, I think Bernardo Silva now has seen the way City have allowed João Cancelo to leave in a way which is on a loan with an option to buy. I think we'll see Bernardo Silva leave at the end of the season on a loan with an option to buy. That is the way it is looking at the moment. Ebenezer says, wait, what about Bellingham? We'll get on to Bellingham, Ebenezer, because he's also mentioned in this report. So Bernardo Silva and for James Maddison looks like the way City are going to do things. Maddison out, in, Bernardo Silva out. And like I said, around 40 million. Now, he's a brilliant set-piece taker, is James Maddison. That is one thing I want to add. And he's a very creative player. But the thing City have, and Pep Guardiola and the scouts have really honed in on is that the fact that Manchester City are missing, outside of Erling Haaland, goals from midfield. Kevin De Bruyne is not providing them as much anymore. Bernardo Silva certainly isn't. Ilkay Gundogan, not like he was in the past. City need goals from midfield, and they want to sort of take the burden off Erling Haaland always the one trying to score goals, always the one scoring the goals for Manchester City. So Pep Guardiola has identified James Maddison as the player to bring the goals to the Manchester City midfield. That is what it's looking like at the moment. Now, whether Maddison moves to City or not in the summer, we don't know. But we know City are very highly interested in him. So are Newcastle. Newcastle made a second move for him this January transfer window. It didn't work out because of Leicester City's massive asking price. They want to keep him till the end of the season, where we will see him move for, I think, for around 40 million. That is what the price is going to be. So 40 million for a high quality English player, I think is good. But I understand your guys' feedback here, already saying, like Jet Wilson saying, you don't know about Maddison. I don't know about Maddison either. But I think the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. To lose Bernardo Silva for 70 million, to bring in Maddison for 45 million, very different sort of quality of players. Obviously, Bernardo Silva is probably twice the player James Maddison is. But under the, sort of train of Pep Guardiola in a Manchester City system and the Man City team, Maddison would bring goals surely to our midfield, which we don't have. Let's be honest, our midfield doesn't have goals in it particularly. James Maddison would bring that, and that's why City have signalled him out. And there are also talks in the report about Phil Foden moving into a position more around Erling Haaland, rather in wide areas, and City bringing in a wide player as well, which we'll get into pretty shortly. But at the moment, 73% of you guys are in favour of James Maddison. There is someone, actually, I can't remember, it could be Rideye, that always comments they want City to sign James Maddison, and that is something I always see. Adrian says he doesn't care about a Cancelo left-back position I'm scared about. So this transfer is for the future, isn't it? James Maddison will be the future. For the here and now, I understand, and like Gobbit the Gamer is saying, like Ashton is saying, the full-back situation at Manchester City is a massive worry. I've only seen senior left back, and when I say left back, Sergio Gomez isn't a left back, is he particularly? He's a midfielder, is Sergio Gomez, who's not good enough for Manchester City. Nathan Ake's been playing there, but we know Nathan Ake's injury record. I mean, what really sort of doesn't make sense to me is Manchester City in the summer brought in a fifth centre-back in Manuel Akanji because Pep Guardiola said that John Stones and Nathan Ake can't play a lot of football. They get injured quite a lot, and that's an issue. And that is why we brought in Manuel Akanji. And now we're putting our whole hopes the rest of the season, 6 months of the season, sort of, on Nathan Ake being fit. If Ake gets injured, we've got literally no one who can play that. No one who's worth playing there. Sergio Gomez in the Champions League semi-final. Don't even try and tell me about that sort of thing. So that is a big issue. But Maddison for the future, you guys, what do you think? Do you think Maddison's a good idea? We'll get on to İlkay Gündoğan as well, because İlkay Gündoğan is under big interest from Barcelona still. Gündoğan has two choices next season. He either stays at Manchester City, signing a new 2-year contract, or he moves to Barcelona, possibly signing a 3-year deal. Now, his age, getting a 3-year deal, that's 3 guaranteed years of wages being paid, although you don't know Barcelona. 3 guaranteed years of wages being paid to play in the city of Barcelona, which his wife has already said she prefers to go to Barcelona. So I think there's a good chance İlkay Gündoğan does leave Manchester City. And James Maddison wasn't the only midfielder named in this report. Now, I have a few midfielders in mind that I think City should sign or look at in the summer, but they are for another video, another time. And the other player mentioned to replace İlkay Gündoğan is, of course, a player someone's already mentioned. Ebenezer said, what about Jude Bellingham? Well, Jude Bellingham is the man City are looking at to replace İlkay Gündoğan. And it's looking like City could bring in both Bellingham and Maddison in the summer, as well as a few other options. They're probably looking at around 4 players in the summer. 2 midfielders, a forward, as in a wide forward, and a left back. They're the 4 positions Manchester City want to address in the summer. Elmo feels like we're going to be forced to back 3 at the back with Rico Lewis. Very true, Elmo. I think we've got no other tactical news, have we, but to play 3 at the back, especially if there's injuries. Ajin says that Guardiola loves Gündoğan more than his wife. I actually think he'll stay. I think Gündoğan will stay as well, but I think City are planning for the fact that İlkay Gündoğan could go. And NKB can't wait to see these new City signs. I can't either. Next season, especially the new kits that have been rumoured, they look really nice. Wilson thinks Maddison's a hit-or-miss type of player, should sign him unless it's 20 to 30 million. I think, Jack, it will be around 40 million, 10 million more than that. I think 40 million for Maddison. You think he was linked with Manchester United, linked with Newcastle, 60 million. I think he is personally a £45 million player, £50 million player. So if you get him around that, I think I'll take it. I am worried about his injury issues as well. Now, on the Jude Bellingham situation, Bellingham is heavily linked with Manchester City, but City aren't the only club interested in Jude Bellingham. There are two others leading the race and one that are really far ahead, or two that are really far ahead. It is Liverpool and Real Madrid. Now, I don't understand the Real Madrid interest in Jude Bellingham, other than the fact that, obviously, he's described as a generational talent. If Real Madrid go for Jude Bellingham, what happens to Fede Valverde? What happens to Camavinga, Tchouaméni? 3 already starters there that could be for the future. You've got Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. Dani Ceballos, who supposedly signed a new deal. I think Modric will go, but even so, Bellingham's wants to be playing football. Is he going to be playing football at Real Madrid? Liverpool, despite not having Champions League football next season, which it looks very likely they won't have Champions League football next season, are very much the favourites for Jude Bellingham. And if it was up to me, and if I was a betting man, I'd put my money on Jude Bellingham to Liverpool, second to Real Madrid, and City working hard behind the scenes, third. We've got to remember with City, Liverpool next summer will look to address one area in their team, and that is midfield. They might sign 2 midfielders. Real Madrid next summer are looking to address the fullback situations, which is not necessarily a very expensive position to address, although it's changed in the market over the years. Plus a midfield they're looking to add, maybe a striker as well, but they've signed Endrick for the future. Manchester City are not just looking at midfield, they're looking at left back, they're looking at the wide areas, and players that we're about to mention, the wide areas, will not come cheap. So Jude Bellingham costing, I mean, I tell you what, if Enzo Fernandez goes to Chelsea before the deadline for £115 million, €130 million, then Jude Bellingham's going to cost €150 million, and I don't believe Manchester City will pay €150 million for Jude Bellingham. I really don't. I think Liverpool might, because he might be their only signing, and they've not spent for a very long time, really, that sort of big money. They only spend it on an Alisson, a Van Dijk, when they see that right player they think that's worth the big money. Obviously, Real Madrid, the Galacticos, it's very different, but I cannot see City playing that sort of money. And maybe that's why the James Maddison links are becoming a bit bigger now. Looking at James Maddison and saying, you know what, 45 million to 40 million for James Maddison seems like a better deal, despite being very much different players, different sort of ceilings. Jude Bellingham's, 19 years of age, Maddison's 26. Big difference there, isn't it, between 2 players? And if you have to ask me between, should City sign Bellingham and Maddison, I think you should sign Bellingham. But I don't think City will do it because he's going to cost 3-4 times as much as James Maddison. That is an issue for Manchester City. Elmo doesn't see him join a non-Champions League team. I think he would do, Elmo, if it was Liverpool. I really do, because he's a big Steven Gerrard fan. I think there's a connection there, family-wise, with Liverpool. Apparently, Liverpool want to give his dad a job at Liverpool and all sorts of things, which I don't know if that's entirely by the book, but that's what they think they're doing. Ajin believes that we are favourites of Bellingham because Liverpool are in a terrible position and English players rarely go to the Liga. Possibly, Ajin. Possibly. But in my mind, I think Bellingham to Liverpool or Real Madrid, they're the first 2. City are third favourites for Bellingham because I don't think City could afford, well, they could, but I don't think City are going to spend €150 million on Bellingham plus these other players. And I'd like to ask you a question, guys. Say City signed Jude Bellingham next summer and then signed a very cheap sort of £10 million left back and no one else. Would you be happy? Or would you be happier if City signed Maddison for 50 million? A left back for 50 million, a forward for 80 million, another midfielder for a bit, 40 million as well. Would you rather 3 players that came in or just Jude Bellingham? You guys let us know in the comments there. Do you think City should, and let us know in the comments down below if you're watching this after the live stream, should City sign just Jude Bellingham and a cheap fullback, or should City sign a very good attacking wide player, 2 good midfielders that are cheaper that could add up to the price of Bellingham, and a fullback? Think about it, guys. Bellingham is 3 £50 million players. For 3 lots of £50 million, Manchester City could get 2 midfielders and a left back for 1 Jude Bellingham. That is the issue. Do you improve the squad, or you go all out for 1 player? I think we should go improve the squad, personally, if it come down to that. Arjun says, we can sign your all-time career mode player, Soboslai. I mean, if we sign Soboslai, I'll be really happy. He is, I think, better than James Maddison. But Maddison's English and Manchester City have got that in their mind, I'm sure. Speaking of other players in the squad, because this video is not just about James Maddison, I've seen 75% of you guys currently think City should sign James Maddison. Elmo says definitely 3 players. Time to invest heavily in all positions, especially left back. Exactly, Elmo, and that's why City wouldn't get Jude Bellingham. Because say Say it was the summer after Jude Bellingham left and City thought they've got a good squad and we've got 2 players in each position. We just need to replace Gundogan and Bernardo Silva. 150 million on Jude Bellingham would work. It's not going to happen like that. Gobbett believes we need a proper pacey winger, and I'm about to cover that right now. I don't think we should go for Bellingham. It would hurt the squad. Wouldn't be able to sign players with a standard up to City. Exactly, Jack. And Maddison and Szoboszlai, if we somehow get them both for 150 million. I think if we signed Maddison and Szoboszlai, you'd probably get them for less than what it costs to sign one Jude Bellingham. That is the issue, isn't it? You'd probably get a fullback as well for 30 million as well. So we're going to talk about Phil Foden, because Phil Foden's not been playing too much at Manchester City. But in this report that's come out from Jack Gorn, a very, very reliable journalist who's got lots of inside source at Manchester City, if City sign a wide player, well, City, first thing is City are looking to sign a wide player next summer. They want someone to replace what they've lost in Raheem Sterling in sort of a pacey wide player, which Gobbett the Gamer is on about there. A real attacking, lively player who can play on the left or the right hand side. Probably on the left hand side, because Manchester City plan to either use Phil Foden more on the right wing, but mainly in behind Erling Haaland. Maybe in the role we see Julian Alvarez play at the moment, just in behind Erling Haaland, or Kevin De Bruyne at times. And they think that's Foden's natural position to move inside. So Phil Foden's going to move inside, and City are going to be bringing a wide player. Who are the 2 wide players Manchester City are monitoring? Well, 2 players I think you guys will be very, very excited about. The first one is this man, Napoli's Kvaratskhelia. I've probably butchered the name again. Georgian international signed for 15 million by Napoli in the summer. He looks an absolute talent now. He isn't the sort of blistering pace winger you see, but he's very direct. I don't think he's like as quick as a Raheem Sterling, a Leroy Sané sort of player, but I do certainly think he's much quicker than Riyad Mahrez. He's much quicker than probably Phil Foden and also you'd say Jack Grealish as well. So that player right there is going to be someone that is monitored by Manchester City, and he would be so excited, wouldn't he, on that left-hand side of Manchester City. I don't think this deal will happen, and I'll tell you right now why this deal won't happen, and it's because he plays for Napoli. If he played for any other club in Serie A, Manchester City would probably be able to go and get Cravadonna, we'll call him, because he is like Maradona, they call him, aren't they? City could get Cravadonna in the summer for maybe 100 million euros. I think City would pay 100 million euros for this man. I don't think it'll happen. There's 2 reasons. Then the reason is because of Napoli. Manchester City, on more than one occasion, have tried to sign players from Napoli. City first trying to sign Edinson Cavani a very long time, offering 32 million or so for Edinson Cavani. And Napoli said, the release clause or go home. City went home. Cavani went to PSG for 55 million euros. Okay? Second opportunity City went to Napoli was to sign Jorginho, who's actually today moved to Arsenal from Chelsea. Interesting deal. Mikel Arteta was at City at the time when City wanted Jorginho. Clear was in the conversations with City about Jorginho. Well, Mikel Arteta signed Jorginho. City wanted Jorginho from Napoli. City had agreed a deal for Jorginho. 40 million euros with Napoli. And Napoli, like they historically do with their owner, the Italian filmmaker, they say, yeah, 40 million's fine, just give us another week and we'll finalise this deal. So City wait another week. And they say, okay, we want 45 million euros actually for Jorginho. City a bit unhappy about it, but they move things around. What about 43 million? We'll negotiate with you. Napoli say 43 million euros for Jorginho. Sounds perfect. Brilliant. Just give us a week, we'll sign all the deal off. City get ready. A week comes by. Right, we want 50 million euros for Jorginho. No. Now, that is the way Napoli negotiate. Manchester City do not like Napoli. In the end, City agreed a deal for Jorginho at 50 million euros. Napoli continued to delay and then sold him to Chelsea for a higher fee, including manager Maurizio Sarri. And City's relationship, Cheeky Bergeste's relationship there with the sporting director at Napoli, completely broke down. Napoli do this with everyone. If you've watched the Sky Sports transfer saga deadline day with Fabian Ruiz's move from Napoli to PSG, they did exactly the same thing. That transfer took the full 2 months of the transfer window to go through. It didn't go through till deadline day because Napoli every time said, we want more money. We want more money. Or, yeah, give us another week, and then they put the deal up. So that is what Napoli are like. NKB wants Diaby at City. Diaby would be a fantastic option. I think for the price, though, City can get a better player at the same sort of price. So that is why Cavaradonna's not going to sign. And speaking of a third player, Kalidou Koulibaly, also a Chelsea player. City wanted Kalidou Koulibaly. Napoli said, we want 70 million euros for him. City said, we'll pay 50 million euros for him. City agree a 55, 60 million euro deal for Koulibaly. And again, Napoli say, wait a week. And they keep negotiating. And one thing that was mentioned, the Napoli sporting director, this is a direct quote from him, not word for word, he said that he struggles to deal with Manchester City because they never speak to us directly. They only deal with a middleman. So Manchester City won't even speak to Napoli. They send someone to Napoli and say, speak on our behalf, because we're so disgusted with them, we won't deal with them. That is why this deal won't happen. But the other man, Manchester City, are closely monitoring and very interested in a player that Pep Guardiola tried to sign during his time at Sporting Lisbon. When all that trouble happened with the training ground being invaded, he moved to Lille, and then from Lille, he went and moved to AC Milan. It is Rafael Leao. Now, he's had a bad few weeks at AC Milan, actually, who are in really bad form. Lost 5-2 to Swallow the other day, which is a really bad result. And a lot of AC Milans were calling his performance calling him a ghost. But, I mean, if the whole team's playing bad, you don't expect them to play well. Rafael Leao, to me, seems like the one that's going to happen this summer. Chelsea wanted him last summer. They've now signed Mikhailo Mudryk. They've got Pulisic. They've signed Noni Madueke as well. They've signed Nkunku. They've got too many forward players, so Chelsea's won't be going for Rafael Leao in the summer. Rafael Leao, in the past few hours, has rejected another contract offer from AC Milan. His contract will expire in 2024, the same as James Maddison's situation. Now, if you want to keep up with all this information, have a look at our We Are City community tab. I put all the news in there, scroll through, all the transfer news is there. These videos just bring it a bit more to life to you guys so we can discuss quite a few things. So Rafael Leao from AC Milan to Manchester City looks likely. Leao wanted to put a release clause in his contracts, his new AC Milan contract of 80 to 90 million euros, knowing that it'd probably get triggered in the summer anyway. AC Milan want to keep it 150 million euros. That's not going to happen. So contract talks are done. And AC Milan have accepted they will have to sell the Portuguese international in the summer. And I think Manchester City will be going for him. And I think 80 million euros will be the deal for Rafael Leao. 75 million euros, £75 million. Rafael Leao will be coming to Manchester City, a favourite of Pep Guardiola. And he can not just play on the left, he can play through the middle as well. A very skillful, pacey player. Let's hope this one happens. I think he offers something different to Cavaradonna. But we'll have to see. Ashton says, Guerrero for free, Maddison for 50. Yours wish Soboslai for 50 and Leao Kvaratskhelia for 80 million. I would be pleased. That would be a very good transfer window, wouldn't it, Ashton? Very good. Nam said, not sure about the Maddison transfer. He ain't City level, in my opinion. I think a lot of people think that. Nam, a lot of people are very unsure on James Maddison's level. Is he Manchester City level? I don't know either. I can't tell you. I think he'd be good. I think he'd be very good for us. My issue is with him, I don't want him starting. I want him coming off the bench and being there when we need him. I'd rather, if we could get Bellingham and Maddison, absolutely fantastic. I think, personally, for the price, there might be higher potential younger players out there who can play Maddison's position, who have got a bit more work rate to them. But I have to admit City are right in this. I have to admit Pep Guardiola, what's coming out is right. James Maddison, we're just getting back up on screen again since we're talking about James Maddison so people know. James Maddison offers something that City haven't got in midfield, which is goals. The guy is a goal scorer. 7 goals this season in 14 games and 4 assists. He's a creative player and he does score goals from midfield. And what does City not have in midfield? Someone who scores goals. So that does sway me a little bit. James Maddison does sway me, the fact that he will bring goals to Manchester City. And that is a big one, isn't it? For me, that's a big one. The vote's gone down. 71% of you guys do believe City should sign James Maddison. So the summer window, I'm looking at it like this for me. We'll talk about it in more detail in another video. But we're talking right backs, we've got Walker and Rico Lewis. Centre backs, we've got Stefan Ortega and Ederson. It's goalkeepers, sorry. Centre backs, we've got 5 centre backs in case one of them leaves. I think we'd still be okay with 4. Nathan Ake and Aymeric Laporte on the left hand side. Ruben Diaz, who can play on either. And then Akanji and Stones to the right hand side. Left back, I'd like to bring in 2 left backs. If it's up to me, I'd bring in 2 left backs. I'd bring in 1 left back on a free. Either Rafael Guerreiro or Grimaldo, both of Benfica and Borussia Dortmund, and then a fullback on a cheaper deal. Maybe an Anthony Robinson from Fulham for maybe 50 million euros. A player that's a favourite of mine that you guys might not know of, but I want to bring into a video at some point, is Milos Kerkez, a Hungarian, Serbian dual nationality fullback playing at AZ Alkmaar in the Eredivisie. I think he's a wonderful project player for Manchester City. He's been at AC Milan at one point. Holding midfield, we've got Phillips and Rodri, which I'm happy with. Yes, Phillips hasn't shown it this season. I think Rodri is fantastic. Phillips is going to back him up. In the midfield, we've got issues. Kevin De Bruyne, and that is it. Because Gundogan and Bernardo could go, we've got no one else. So James Maddison, perhaps, alongside Kevin De Bruyne. Phil Foden also comes into a midfield role, at times can cover there, and then another midfielder as well, Enzo Lafay, he is in my mind, but maybe him and Maddison share the similar. I think we need a sort of box-to-box midfielder and a goal-scoring midfielder, a hard-working one. And then you talk about the wide areas. Well, in the striker position, we've got Haaland and Alvarez completely sorted. Wide right, we've got Riyad Mahrez. Wide left, we've got Jack Grealish. And that leaves, what, spaces for Rafael Leao and Cole Palmer. Personally, I wouldn't have Palmer there, but I think there's only so much City can do in the transfer window. Ajin says Guerrero and Esbrand, I believe in them for next season. Well, Ajin, Wilson Esbrand has gone on loan to Coventry. And think of it this way. Sergio Gomez, considering how bad he's been for Manchester City, Guardiola still loaned Esbrand out, which tells you one thing. Esbrand's not going to make it at Manchester City. He has a torrid injury record himself. He's had 2 or 3 ACL injuries, I believe, in his career. And he came on in a game in the Champions League. I remember being at the game, and Pep Guardiola spent the whole game moaning at Esbrand. He doesn't like him, I don't think. Esbrand's a very raw talent, a very sort of bomb down the wing and whip the ball in sort of fullback. An Alphonso Davies, perhaps, in a style, in a sense. But Pep Guardiola doesn't like that. He wants very intelligent, pick the passes fullbacks. Esbrand isn't a Pep Guardiola fullback, and to be honest with you, he's not going to make it at Manchester City. I can tell you that now. I don't think he'll ever make it at City. Go at the game, says Ian Matson, a good shout from Burnley. He is, but the only thing is he plays for Chelsea. And Chelsea will not certainly be selling Ian Matson to Manchester City. Apparently City want Ben Chilwell as well. That's another one for another day, perhaps. We mentioned him yesterday. I don't see that one happen either, because I do not see Chelsea selling Ben Chilwell, plus his injury record is also terrible. I think City, if they signed Chilwell, they should have signed him 3 or 4 years ago when they could have bought him for 42 million. I think you're talking 60 million from Chelsea. But they do need the money, perhaps. And Sean Fogarty's here. Hey, mate. Hi to you, Sean. How are you doing? What do you think about James Maddison to Manchester City? So just a few more minutes left in this live video for you guys to tell me what you think directly about James Maddison to Manchester City, which is the big story coming out today, the breaking news for City. No signings happening today, unless tonight City somehow pull a rabbit out of the hat and, I don't know, Theo Hernandez arrives for 80 million. I can't see it. I don't think it's happening. City aren't going to sign anyone. So they've put this information out about the future deals. And James Maddison at the moment is City's top target for next summer in the midfield role alongside Jude Bellingham. Rafael Leao and Kvaratskhelia, City's main options for the attacking positions. Left back is yet an unknown. Kvaratskhelia has been heavily linked with City, but I think that would only be the future if maybe Laporte left or Nathan Ake left. We'll have to see. So let us know right now, guys. What do you think of James Maddison? Yes or no? I mean, you guys have been voted. 73% you believe that you want Maddison at City. Sean says, I would take Maddison, but I'd rather Jude or Enzo. I agree with you, Sean. The only thing is, Enzo Fernandez, if he doesn't go in the January transfer window, he will go to Chelsea in the summer for around 130 million. Ridiculous money. And Jude Bellingham is surely going to Real Madrid or Liverpool, isn't it? Really, that's the way it is looking. I will keep you guys updated in our community tab of all the transfers that are happening with Manchester City. Any more news that's coming out, news could be breaking right now. And I want to do a video in the future about some of the targets I think City should look at, personally. I think there's some targets City should look at that have maybe not been linked with City, and so on. And we also have our Discord server. Go over to our Discord server, go into the transfer news section, and just talk about things. I want to set it up so that sort of renews with a community post about transfer news. I don't know how to do that quite yet. But you guys can talk amongst yourself with different people about the possible transfers. Jack Wilson says we should have signed Enzo when we had the chance. We should have done, shouldn't we? We've got a gap in the midfield. Enzo Fernandez for, what, 11 million euros? What a mistake by Manchester City, you have to say. What a massive mistake by Manchester City. He would have been top quality, wouldn't he? Well, thank you very much for watching this live stream. The video will stay on, so if you're watching this afterwards, put a comment down below. James Maddison, yay or nay. It's been great to talk to you guys again about a possible transfer and to do these transfer updates, which I'm going to continue to keep doing because you guys seem to really enjoy them, and it's great to have so many people talking in the live chat. Thank you for watching. Please do like the video. That's important if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you guys next time for another transfer update or another FIFA 23 video career mode. We'll see you next time.